Thanks to a grant from the Louisville Institute, I've been able to study and interview women survivors of human trafficking. And what I found surprised me. I focused on their resilience. These women have had therapy and gone through programs of rehabilitation. And this group of women that I interviewed are some of the most resilient human beings I've ever met. They have been moved to help the community, to serve others. They have found their voices, and they are women of courage who have testified before Congress and in their own state capitals. They have become incredibly strong, confident, and creative. And many of them admitted to me that they are stronger and have discovered gifts within themselves that they never knew existed before their trafficking situation. Their names and locations had to be kept confidential for their own safety and for legal concerns. But thank God I was able to get access to at least 30 women at this point to find out what were the sources of their own resilience. And in interviewing them, I was quite surprised, and there were several discoveries. First of all, something happened in those interviews. I know that a psychologist might point to transference or countertransference dynamics, but there was something much more profound going on there. I am not a social worker, neither am I a psychologist. I'm a Catholic sister passionate about fighting human trafficking. And what I discovered in the interviews was a deep connection and bond that led to trust. I sensed God at work in the conversation, releasing fears, drawing out goodness, and revealing the resilience in these women. In this series of videos, I'm going to discuss the sources of resilience that these women found for their post-traumatic growth. There were some in common. In fact, quite a few sources of resilience were shared by many of the women. Carol Orsborn writes that mastering the art of resilience does much more than restore you to who you thought you once were. Rather, you emerge from the experience transformed into a truer expression of who you were really meant to be. Since I did not want to re-traumatize these women, I didn't ask them for their story. Instead, I focused on their healing and what helped them to become resilient. I asked them about their future hopes and dreams. That was my focus. But for some, the story leaked out and tears were shed because they had been sold over and over again, and some had been trafficked for labor and worked 17-hour days, and others were treated like animals. I couldn't believe that they would trust me, a stranger, because they had been betrayed by someone who had offered them a great job or gone with someone that they knew, and that's how they got trafficked. So I was amazed that their level of trust transcended their own betrayals. I would like to thank the women survivors for their transparency and openness, for their self-disclosure. You know who you are, and I'm very grateful to you. Last year, UCLA School of Law offered 2 days on human trafficking. The first panel had women survivors who are now lawyers, psychologists, CEOs, and one doctor. What enables a woman who has survived the horror of human trafficking to become so accomplished and successful? I am a person of faith, but I'll tell you most sincerely, these are the women who are the saints, the heroines, models for all of us. Their stories need to be told because they're stories of hope. Yes, they have relapses. PTSD rears its symptomatic head, but they regroup, they heal. And trust me, their bad days are worse than any of ours. Another discovery I made was that they still believe in the goodness of people. A young woman survivor said this: "I don't believe that people are bad. I believe people do bad things." I did not hear a single vindictive word from these women. And for us, who get angry when we're cut off on the freeway, or even when we're betrayed, we have fantasies of karma. What can these women teach us about moving forward and not letting resentments or the sin done to us, not letting that hold us hostage? And where does this hope come from, this resilience? Please check out the next video. Thank you.